Deafening, right? The engine history crew is on shift. Any real mechanic hears that high-pressure steam hiss punching through a gap and instantly knows how brutal this cast iron beast is. This is an Atlas automatic engine built in 1890. Waking up a multi-ton block of cast iron after more than a century of rust is not as simple as tossing wood into the firebox and boiling water. You have to hold the pressure gauge steady, tap the boiler shell with a hammer, and manage every high-pressure oil feed line, or you risk blowing the shop apart. Today, we roll up our sleeves, light the fire, and load this steam giant right on the test stand to measure it for real. The Atlas Foundry crew in the US cast a weird design, but it pays. Instead of leaving a bulky external centrifugal flyweight governor hanging out in the dirt, the engineers packed the spring and flyweight mechanism deep inside the flywheel hub to keep dust out. When the load hits suddenly while it's running, that mechanism snaps and releases, shifts the eccentric cam timing, and pins the RPM instantly, so the chain and sprocket drivetrain behind it doesn't fall out of rhythm. If you love the smell of metal filings and want to see real vintage mechanical numbers, subscribe to the Engine History. Turn on the notification bell too. Your subscriptions are the pressure line that fuels the team to hunt down, crane in, and rebuild these expensive scrap iron treasures for hard teardown and load RPM work. The cleaning and de-rusting are done, and all the critical shafts are exposed. Now comes the oiling step that saves bearings. Before high-pressure steam tears through and strips the oil film inside the cylinder, the mechanic has to pack heat-resistant grease and flood the rocker gear with oil. The firewood smoke mixes with thick oil vapor and turns the forge into a burnt, bitter fog. Look at those bright brass drip oilers sitting on the head. The mechanic feeds thick black oil drop by drop, and he has to keep the boiler heat high enough that the oil thins and creeps into every mechanical clearance in the slide valve system. On this machine, lubrication is a life or death shield against metal gouging and cylinder scoring under hundreds of PSI of tight, angry pressure. The moment the mechanic cracks the steam admission valve is when your brain has to stay sharp, because one mistake can cost a fortune in broken cast iron. That white mess blasting out of the drain cock is not steam yet. It's pooled liquid condensate. If you don't drain every last bit of that water, water hammer will slam back like a hydraulic punch and can crush a cast iron head instantly. Hot steam hits your face and makes sweat pop. That screaming leak noise is pressure slipping past rotten flange gaskets and stabbing your ears. A serious mechanic grips the flywheel bare-handed, greases everywhere, and listens for the deadly tight tolerance window where the piston stroke and the slide valve timing must stay perfectly in sync. Now the engine has caught its expansion rhythm and is firing back. That massive, solid cast flywheel is spinning hard, throwing stored inertia, swallowing steam expansion force, and dumping it into the crank to produce brutal torque that can snap a drive chain. Oil flings off the rod and linkage, splattering onto peeling paint and exposing scratch marks that record tens of thousands of hard hours under load in old shops. The Atlas engine throws flimsy electronics in the trash. It survives across 2 centuries on wood fire, boiler feed water, and a mechanic's skill in lapping surfaces and setting clearances. It growls like a dare, pushing the harshest load limits it was built for.
Just stopped it because I got one whistle startle speaker down here. If anybody hears.
Today's heat up and load run on this hand-cast Atlas block locks in one hard truth. Old one-piece cast iron steam machines were built to plow and grind, to wring savage expansion force out of steam pressure, not to be delicate and fragile. Thanks for holding the line with the engine history, breathing burnt smoke and grease while we measured this machine's tolerances. From a teardown mechanic's perspective, what do you respect more? That ear-splitting pressure hiss, or the hidden flywheel governor's precision manufacturing tolerance? Drop your technical notes in the comments so the shop crew can keep tearing into it. See you in the next weld bay, rebuild, and RPM load session.